Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. I'm your host, Kev, and we have an Ipswich preview happening right now because you've clicked on it. It says Ipswich preview. You'd be silly if you were expecting anything else. I'm joined by two lovely co-hosts. The first one, as we are both gentlemen, and hey, it's for OG3 again, so we'll know exactly who it is. But my first one is Joe, who is looking very glamorous tonight for anyone watching on YouTube.
Oh,
You
she's
okay,
been
Joe?
in London for a few days. She's been down south.
Yeah, she's changed.
She's picked up those fancy
I'm a
ways.
changed woman, I tell you.
Changed woman. She's all fancy. And again, regular listeners, and if you're not a regular listener, you now are because you've just heard us wonderful three voices. We have the smoothest man on the whole podcast. Iain's also joining us for this preview. Are you okay, Iain?
Yeah, yes. Wondering how I'll ever live up to the billing of the smoothest man on the podcast.
You are. You are the smoothest man on the podcast. I said in a previous episode, when I grow up, I want to be like Iain, and it still stands.
And I suggested you want to aspire to be a fireman instead, so there's a little internal struggle for you to deal with, Kev.
How do I pick which one? Anyway, we have got to preview the Ipswich game coming up. Yesterday's episode was wonderful with Ian's crossover, so if you've listened to that, we're going to try and approach it from a slightly different aspect of just a Newcastle version this time. So I think in part one, I think we've got to start with how important this match is. I mean, it's people say it's Ipswich at home and all that stuff, but I mean, let's be honest, we have 5 cup finals, so it's huge in terms of if we want to finish in the Champions League, we have to start winning games like this, or not start winning games like this. We just have to win games like this. So I guess I want to just go around and see if you think it's as important. Is there less pressure? Do you feel nervous about it? Or are we quietly confident? Or is that the worst thing we could be? Loads to unpick there. But Joe, how important do you think it is? And are you worried at all about this game? Is it a potential banana skin or not?
Isn't every game, but I'm not worried about it, I'll be honest. And I don't want to think that if that is a curse. I think the team are good enough now. I know we had like a slip up against Villa. All right, bit of a major slip up. But we've got to remember what else we've done in all the previous games, sort of thing. We've been amazing. And you'd like to think that they will pick back up. Eddie's back, so might give the guys a bit of a boost. But obviously, it's a game that Newcastle are like 100% expected to win. I mean, I'd be amazed if anyone expects Ipswich. Look, we're not stupid enough to ever go into any game thinking that it's a surefire win at the same time. But yeah, I mean, we, like you said, we've got 5 games left. Absolutely, every one of those 5 games is as important as the other. It's a 3-point game. It doesn't matter who we're playing at the end of the day, is it really? So yeah, it's hugely important, but we've got to go into this game believing that not only can we win, but we can win quite convincingly. And again, keep that goal difference up, which we've actually managed to really kind of pull back. So I know we were quite far behind a lot of teams, but our goal difference is right up there. But yeah, come on.
I was going to come to Ian about the goal difference because it is, again, without being too disrespectful at Ipswich, you think an Ipswich at home team who's already relegated. But we've seen a lot of times, and I know Ian will go into this, but we've seen teams, and Newcastle have done it ourselves, where you're already relegated, you just relax, you play with a little bit of freedom, and all of a sudden, you think, how on earth are these already relegated? So, Ian, do you think it's a potential banana skin in that aspect, or are you pretty confident as well?
There's lots to pick up there. I'm not. I don't think it's going to be a drubbing. For sure. I heard a stat earlier today that you've got to go back to the 1973-74 season for the last time Newcastle did the double over Ipswich. And we've had a few goes. We might not play them every year, but we had a few goes. We've never won home and away since 73. So that little stat is ringing in the back of my head when I think that Ipswich actually a much better team away from home than they are at home.
Yeah.
And just their last game, they went 2-up against Chelsea, and Chelsea got it back. But earlier in the season, when they're given no hope at all, they won at Tottenham. They've got a draw at Villa. They won at Bournemouth. So for us to think that Ipswich are mugs would be completely wrong. So I think I'm confident we'll win, but I don't think it's going to be the drubbing. It's not Leicester or Southampton that are turning up. I think we're going to have to play very well. But I do think we'll come out on top. Just a slight aside, I feel that this game is the most critical because it's the next one. And if
Good
we
point.
can get our 3 points here against the one that we ought to win, I think the other 4 games are fraught with danger, by the way. 4 that we have left after this. But if we can pick 3 points up here, it's then down to all the other teams to perform the way that they're expecting to. And what we've seen in previous weeks is that last week it was Arsenal who managed Wednesday it was Arsenal who managed to draw at home to Crystal Palace. We've seen Forest beaten at home by Everton. Chelsea held by Ipswich a fortnight ago. So the teams that we're in a battle with are not on a run of wins in the way that we are, apart from Aston Villa. So a win against Ipswich at 3:00 on the Saturday afternoon means we can sit back and look at the rest of the scores coming in, hopefully going, ha, gain 2 points on them, gain 3 points on them, because I think we might need them. Because I don't think Brighton away is an easy game. Arsenal away certainly isn't. We've got a real cup final for both teams when we play Chelsea at home, and then you've got bloody awkward Everton right at the end of the season.
Yeah.
It would just be like Jordan Pickford to inspire them to stop us getting Champions League. Those 4 games are horrible. This one we should win.
Well, we were going to talk about that in part 3, but we'll just move it forward now. I was going to talk about how important this genuinely is in terms of the race for Europe. And I think if we look at the teams you're talking about there, Forest is part of this weekday play on Thursday, because obviously it's FA Cup kind of weekend, but they play Brentford at home. That's not an easy game at all, I don't think. And we've got Chelsea at home to Everton, and we've got Everton to play. And you've just mentioned there how, it would be typical of Jordan Pickford, but I think I've said in a previous podcast where Everton under Moyes is a completely different team. I wish we were playing with Everton under Dyche, even though we did lose to him a couple of times, but they're still a lot worse. They're still a lot worse under Dyche than what we are under Moyes. Moyes has got them really playing for each other. It's a little bit better to watch even when Everton are on TV. I actually don't just not watch it now because it used to be so boring. So again, Chelsea could potentially drop points. Forest could drop points as well. So it's a case of, you're right, get our game done. Funnily enough, actually, Chelsea play at 12:30, so we'll know what that score is by the time we go into the Ipswich game. So do we think that has any impact? Do you know if Chelsea have lost that? Do you think that then motivates us more, or do you think it just has zero impact at all?
I think
they're already in their match predictions.
Sorry.
They're already in their match preparation at that point.
Yeah.
So it'll be noted for us in the crowd. We'll be thrilled to bits if Chelsea have been beaten.
Yeah.
We'll be absolutely chuffed, working it out, thinking, well, we've just got to beat Chelsea and we'll definitely finish ahead of them. So it's really just a race for the top 6 now.
Yeah, because then we've got Chelsea at home as well. So if they drop points to Everton, that'll be a big boost.
Huge.
Yeah, well, I'm still holding out to get paid out on us finishing second as well. So who have Arsenal got?
Arsenal have got the next game
Crystal
they play
Palace.
is Bournemouth at home.
I've got to be honest. Have you guys looked at all the fixtures about who's got who? Obviously, I take it you have.
The week after, and we've got Brighton away when we play Bournemouth at home. So
I've given up on second. I'm not going to lie, Ian. Third's my prediction. Well, third was my prediction, but I'm totally sticking with it. I totally went along with the ride, and I love this whole thing behind the second thing, but I just can't see Arsenal dropping the required points for us to get second. I mean,
how far behind are we?
Prove me wrong.
We're 7 points behind them, right? We're 7 points behind them.
8.
8 doesn't matter. 8,
and they've got a far superior goal difference.
You could have told Ian 10 there. He's going to say it doesn't matter.
I know. He's going to just argue, doesn't he?
Lose it? No, 8 points. It's 8 points, right? So we lose it.
So 3 wins.
We beat them.
To be fair, we've got Bournemouth, Liverpool.
They've got to lose at Liverpool.
Bournemouth, Liverpool, us.
Bournemouth do them.
Why can't I find the game of the last day of the season?
Liverpool have won it by then, which is a shame.
I've never played Southampton, so we're definitely going to beat Southampton. So Bournemouth, Liverpool, us, and Southampton as their
They've got to lose 3 times. Arsenal have only lost 3 times all season.
They've got another game. They don't have to lose 3 times. They've got to lose twice. They've got to lose twice.
They're 8 points ahead of us. They've got to lose. We have
twice.
The 9.
Yeah, they've got to lose twice. Us and Liverpool.
We'll beat them.
And then they've got to have another couple of draws. We're going to beat
them. That's fine.
they've got another game, Kev, because they've got 5 left, not 4. So they're going to draw
Let
against
me click on
Bournemouth.
Arsenal. I can't believe I'm
Draw
clicking
against,
on
I
Arsenal.
think it's Palace. I think they're away at Palace.
We've just played Palace. So we've got
Did they just
PSG
draw
next,
with
then
Palace?
we've got Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle, Southampton, and that's it.
Have they played 34 games?
They've only got 4 left.
Yes. They've played 34 games because they played Palace
Yeah.
on Wednesday and only drew. So there's one of the draws I'm after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're
So,
saying
yeah,
is, when we
okay.
beat Ipswich, we'll only be 4 points.
When
We'll
we
only be
beat
5 points behind
Ipswich,
them. Sorry. So we'll only be
yes,
5 points behind them when there's only 4 games left.
we're
Right.
behind 5 points behind them, and then we'll beat them, and Liverpool will beat them, and that'll mean that we win our games, we finish a point
We'll be
ahead of them.
second.
So
I love
second
that.
is still on.
Well,
Ian's
it's
second.
technically still on,
Trust me.
It's still on.
That doesn't even
Anyway.
count for Bournemouth doing them.
Imagine if Bournemouth win, by the way, Ian is going to be like well and truly good for
I
second.
mean, I want you to be
love
right,
the
obviously.
ambition.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I just think it'll be
Anyway,
third.
I think it's
We'll
still
leave-
on. I think it's still
We'll
on.
leave part one there because
That's
we haven't even talked about lineups or their lineup or our lineup or Danger
Who
Men
needs
or Eddie
lineups?
Howe
We're
being
fine.
back or the fact it's a Sir Bobby Robson derby. None of that's even been mentioned and part one's done.
Oh, that's so much to
we're
talk
going to
about.
hear from, in Ian's words, Cristiano Ronaldo's mob for our first sponsor, and then we'll be back to talk all things about the Ipswich game.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements, designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Perfetto. Lovely. I also like at the start of an advert when it says your body is unique, Ian nods along. He's like, yeah, my body is unique. 100%.
But it is. Nobody's destroyed their body in the ways that I've destroyed my body, I tell you.
That's a whole other podcast. That's an After Dark podcast to go into that one. Anyway, straight back to Ipswich then. So let's talk about lineups. Newcastle have been unchanged for countless matches now. Eddie Howe is back. I don't think Eddie would have liked what he saw against Villa because we know he's a perfectionist. And as Joe mentioned before, he is officially back. Hallelujah. If I had sound effects, oh my God, I'd be playing everything. But anyway, he's back. Do we think he's going to make any changes? Or is he going to say, look, Villa was a blip. You're still going unchanged. Does that mean Gordon's still benched? I've had a brief chat with Ian before we came on here, and he's got some actually pretty interesting ideas. So I'm going to go Joe first, then I'll come to Ian to see if Joe agrees with Ian.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I've got no idea what you guys were talking about. So, personally, and this is nothing against Barnes, but I'd bring Gordon back in for Barnes.
You got an assist.
Shh. Just listen to where I'm going from here.
Yes, boss. Yes,
No,
boss.
yes, boss. No, I just would. I don't think there's anything wrong with making changes. I appreciate, don't spoil a winning formula. However, we didn't win the last game, so that's kind of out of the window anyway, isn't it? There is reports, obviously, Cher has got a feeling in his hamstring. Was exactly what I read. A little feeling in his hamstring.
There's plenty of people who would help Fabian Shaw.
I'm not going to say what I sent to Nick on WhatsApp once I read that, but you guys can figure it out. So anyway, but yeah, so there's a chance that he won't play, and then there's talk of Botman being back as well. So I think that's a bit up in the air as to what happened. But then obviously you've got Kraft waiting in the wings anyway, even if Botman wasn't back. Because really, even if Botman is back, surely he's not just going to come straight in. Anyway, he's got to break him in a little bit easy. Not ruin him like we did the last time, apparently, after he's massively off. But yeah, in essence, no, I don't really see any other changes. I don't see any reason why there should be. And unless you guys know something I don't know of any other injuries or issues anyway with any of the other players. So yeah, that's my little bit.
Yeah, I think you've pretty much got the potential injuries and stuff bang on, and the return of Botman again is a potential thing. I love now that Newcastle, whether Howe's around or not, keep the cards so close to the chest of his stuff.
Mhm.
It used to get leaked all the time under the previous manager about exactly who was ready. And even now, when they post for training shots, are very careful not to include certain players who are back or close. So I love that about the club at the minute. Complete housery. I'm not going to say the first word because I don't want to get in trouble. But Iain, what are your thoughts on how we could potentially line up against Ipswich? Do you fancy any changes, or do you think you will make any?
I, first of all, on reflection, don't think that we played that badly against Villa. I don't think we were tired. I think we were battling really, really hard, backs to the wall. We had to because Villa was so bloody good. And actually, we held them at 1-1 for the first hour, despite being outplayed for and out-tacticked for that game, until they brought 2 or 3 super subs on when we then let 3 goals in 6 minutes. And the game was gone then. Tyndall started taking players off to rest them. I don't think you can say we were tired. I think we were just beaten by a team that was more on it on Saturday.
Mhm.
So, given that, probably start the same team. However, it may be that you want to just give everyone a little bit of a shake-up, that you won't pick them even if they lose 4-1. My suggestion was that I wouldn't drop Barnes, but I want to bring Gordon in. So I might let Murph sit on the bench to be coming on either left or right, depending on who's played the best between Gordon and Barnes down the right. And to accommodate Barnes down the right, I might shift Tino back from left to right. Could just play Trippier on the left, or let Matt Targett have a bit of a run out and keep some good changes on the bench just in case we haven't been able to steamroller these guys. But my gut feel is they'll start with the same 11 because they weren't awful on Saturday. But if you want to switch it up, we've got players who you could switch it up for. I'd love to see Miley get more time. I don't think we've used him anywhere near enough.
He's been
I'd
linked
like
with
to
a
see.
move away, hasn't he?
I hope that's
Yeah.
just talk. I hope that's just talk.
I'm
That'd be like
leaving that as
sending
talk personally. Yeah.
him and Anderson going. Right, it's even more criminal than letting Elliot Anderson go to let Lewis Miley go. But I wouldn't mind Joe Willock starting on the left and maybe have Joe Linton sitting on the bench to come on in the second half. I'm thinking about having a stronger bench so that we can go for the full 90 minutes if we need to.
Nah, it's a good. I actually like that idea. I like the fact of giving players, especially like Willock, an opportunity to come in and play well, because we know that when he's on it and he plays regularly, he's such a good player, so underrated. I think, especially by other clubs who probably don't see him week in and week out. So I've got no problem with the likes of Willock getting game time. I just think that discussion about the wingers, I think Barnes is in the best form he's been in personally since he joined the club.
Can't leave him out.
I think it'd be very harsh to drop him, and even against Villa, he got an assist. And I also think Murphy on the right, I completely see what Iain's saying about maybe just giving him a bit of time, having him off the bench. But I think when he's in the red hot form he's in, you've just got to keep saying go up there and do what you need to do. So personally, I would stick with same wingers, and I would have Gordon on the bench. And like used to, I think it probably will be unchanged. But that's the only thing in terms of me personally, I would definitely keep the 2 wingers. The rest of it, I can understand maybe giving Joe Linton a rest, bringing Willock in. I wouldn't even mind seeing Miley coming in. But then, I mean, imagine the fans if you drop Bruno or Tonali and we'll go 1-0 down. I wouldn't want to experience that. So that's, again, probably something which weighs heavily. But the other thing I want to talk about before we end part 2, because we'll go to Ipswich, I'll come to Iain in a second.
I was going to ask
do
a quick question. What would you do if Shah is... Well, if Shah's got a tweaky hamstring and you don't want to lose him for the last 4, because this is our
You've got
gimme,
to be
isn't
careful
it?
there.
Definitely.
How do you switch that around?
I'd just bring
It's got to be
Kraft in as
Kraft,
right
isn't it?
centre
Yeah.
half. Kraft is
Kraft,
right
yeah.
centre half. Burners left centre half, and I would stick with Tino left, Trippier right. But there's talk of Trippier as well being a little bit, again, his groin, his hamstring. He has been holding it the last couple of games, so that would then mean Shaw or Trippier is going to have to play, or you bring Botman straight back in, which is another thing where you think he's already made a glass. Can you really bring Botman in for Ipswich at home? But there's nobody else. You're starting to then look very, very thin. You could play Murphy right back. He's done it before as a wing back if you really have to, and have Kraft as centre half. But again, the form Murphy's in, why would you want to move him out of that position?
Have we not got a wonder kid in the under-21s?
Leo
Is it
Shahar.
Sahar? Yeah.
Leo Shahar
Why
looks
not?
like a
If he's going to play in the Premier League, he wants to be playing at home against a relegated side. Why
good
not?
point. Good
Why
point.
not let
Good
him
I
have a
test
think
for him,
go?
yeah.
it's a brave move, wasn't it? When we're talking about 5 cup finals, I think you want experience in there. But you're right again. It would be a great
Well,
call. Look what Man United have done.
it-
Man United have brought in a lot of youngsters. I think
yeah.
it's Obi. What's the guy left back? He played against us. Amas looks really good. And there's another lad, number 55's coming. I forgot his name, but he looks amazing as well. So you're right. You could just bring in someone like Leo Shahar, and all of a sudden you're thinking, well, we don't need to sign a backup right back if Trippier goes. We've got this young lad. So lots of options, but I personally think it'll be unchanged if everyone's fit. But there is question marks, isn't it, over Trippier and Shaw. What do you do then? Is it Botman and Kraft, or do you play Kraft centre half and play Trippier if he's fit? Or you could bring Target in. You could move Tino to right back and put Target left back. So we
Yeah.
are a
You
very
could bring
versatile
you could
squad.
you could bring Kraft in and move Burn to left back if Shah's okay.
Yeah, could
Yeah, I
do.
suppose.
Could do, but Burn did a great job for us when we finished 4th. We are a very versatile
Fantastic.
squad. I think that's what helps us so much. That
Yeah.
you could bring Target in and put Tino right back. You could put Kraft centre half, or you could put Kraft right back and bring Botman in. It's loads of options, but I think it'll be unchanged, won't it? I think.
I think Botman will be on the bench, by the way, and I think he will get the last 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
because I
Start
think they're
easing them
going to
in.
have to test him because if he gets his 20 minutes there and he can do half an
Mm-hmm.
hour at Brighton, he's bloody fit for that Arsenal game,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
and that's key, isn't it?
Yeah, could go 5 at the back again because I don't think I'd drop. Oh, I mean, Villa was a bit of a one-off, but I wouldn't drop Shaw or Burn at the minute, really.
No.
Since the cup final have been amazing, so it'd have to be 5 at the back if Botman's coming in. Nice problems to have. Anyway, I'm going to squeeze one more question in before we go to part 3, and we'll talk about Ipswich. Howe's obviously back. We're all massive fans of Howe on this podcast. I think he's amazing. Iain said previously he's the elite manager, and Joe can't think of anybody else ever in charge. Do we think, with Howe being back, we are now going to have at least more than one plan? Because I thought Villa, I didn't think we were terrible, but we had one way to play: battle, fight,
Yeah.
press. And then when it didn't work, it was like, well, would Howe have changed it, or am I just looking too much into that? How big is it having Howe back? I know that seems like a silly question or obvious answer of, yeah, it's massive. But do you think it is going to be so important to miss running, or do you think actually we're a well-oiled machine now? It's not going to make a huge difference.
It's got to be hugely important, hasn't it? Regardless. Yeah, we're a well-oiled machine. Absolutely agree with that, by the way. And Tyndall did a great job, and they were calling for manager of the month, which I actually love. And
1 in 5.
bless
Yeah.
him. Oh, I know. But even if he had to beat Villa as well, he wasn't going to get it, was he? Let's get real. But we would have wanted him to get it. But yeah, I mean, he's talked about the fact that I think they said, they've worked together for what, like 17 years or something crazy
I'm
like
saying, like, is it just a case of they know what each other are going to do anyway? So it's as much as he's a
But-
miss. Of course, Eddie Howe's a miss. I mean, my God,
Yeah.
of course he is. But is it as big as what we think?
But are they better together is more my point. Like
Oh, yeah.
Tyndall, to me, and we all kind of picked up on it, he did look at times a little bit lost with his sidekick. It was like, where's my Batman to my Robin, to me being Robin type of thing. And it's like, I don't know, maybe he wasn't even operating at his peak because he
good
was
point.
just missing that extra piece
Good
of him.
point.
So that's
Yeah.
why I think they're so important to each other. And if I'm
Good
honest,
point.
if Tyndall was out, and I know Howe was the main man, but I bet if Howe was on that sideline on his own, Tyndall wasn't there, it would still have that kind of, they need each other almost. They're a perfect pair. So yeah, I think it's hugely important because of that.
Do you agree, Ian?
Well, I was going to make the point. I think Tyndall said, didn't he? They've been together for 17 years, and there's only twice they've not stood next to each other on the touchline. So I
Yeah.
do think that they know each other's tactics inside out. Whether he didn't change it because he was going to have to make that decision all on his own, or Graham Jones was saying, "Oh no, you can't do that." Whereas him and Howe would have agreed that they would be able to change it against Villa. But I don't know how you would change it against Villa with players we've got.
I don't know if it'd just be more of a counter, a low block, or a maybe put 5 at the
Yeah,
back and try and catch them. Something a little bit different, that's all.
but you'd be conceding ground to Asensio and Tielemans and players who were really super confident and bang on form.
Yeah.
I think we did well to hold them for an hour, to be honest,
Yeah.
because
Fair.
that was the Villa that was all over Paris Saint-Germain that we played.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you watched the City game, but they were quite unlucky to not hold City at the very least. They could have beat City.
Yeah.
And at the 4th minute of injury time, City scabbed a winner. But I think that was better for us in the long run in terms of our Champions League
Yep,
qualification.
I agree. I mean, I can't wait to see Eddie back. So I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing to see him again. Just saying. One more advert, as everyone knows, regular listeners will know. One more advert. Zencastr. This one's recorded. We're going all posh, and then we'll be back for part 3.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we've spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
And if anyone didn't know, that was Jo. She's just back from London, like Iain said. That's her new accent now. That's how she sounds.
Can you imagine?
She calls them. She calls them Zencastr now as well.
Zencastr, don't you know?
Zencastr. We are on Zencastr.
With my cup of tea.
Anyway, let's not upset any Southern Newcastle fans because we don't want to do that. But I'm sure they would agree with us anyway. Anyway, part 3. Let's have a little brief look at Ipswich. We haven't had a great season. Obviously, relegated pretty much. It's a case of we do have a couple of good players. I know Delap's impressed this season and is getting talked about in terms of a move to stay in the Premier League when they go down. So Delap's been talked about. I know Leif Davis, who's actually not in this game, is a Newcastle fan and loves playing. Oh, he said his dream was to play St James's Park this season. Unlucky, not going to happen. Poor lad. Unless he gets a transfer to us next season, if he wants to come and be back up to Lewis Hall, he's more than welcome. But we do have some players. I know Hutchinson as well has had a half decent season. So again, a couple of players who you guys think we should be worried about. I'm going to come to Iain first because he's already done the crossover, and then Joe can hopefully just agree with him.
Well, I asked Rob last night about Delap. They're sure he's gone. He's got 30 million buyout clause, relegation clause, which means that they've discussed before he started playing for them that if they got relegated, he was moving on. And he hasn't started the last 2 games. Instead of doing his normal 80, 85 minutes, as he has done for the rest of the Premier League, he's done the last 10 in each of the last 2 games. So they don't know if that's him saying he doesn't want to play so he doesn't get injured and he can get his move in the summer, or if this is what the Ipswich boys think, there's some sort of, I think he scored 18 goals. There's some sort of bonus that'll get paid out if he scores more than 20 goals, so they're just not going to play him so he can get the last 2 goals and then move on.
A little bit more innocent. Are Ipswich not just planning for life without him? That's what I thought. But
well, he said, and this is the guy I'm going to flag up because you've not mentioned him. They had a very good forward, scored a lot of goals in their promotion from League One and through to Christmas in the Championship. A fella called George Hurst, who got a really bad injury at the Christmas, and they got promoted. He's come back in. He's probably going to be the main man next year. So Rob reckons that he's pretty good. He gave the Arsenal, I know they lost 4-0, but he did give the 2 Arsenal centre-halves a bit of a runaround last week. So he sounds as if he's going to be able to handle himself. So I think we might have to watch him. The other guy I liked on their side was Philogene, who I think they got from Villa. But he's injured, so he can't play. Leif Davis has been touted as a bit higher level than relegated Premier League. He got sent off, so he can't play. So I think they're, in fact, his replacement, Connor somebody, forgotten the name of him, at left back is also injured.
Townsend?
Connor Townsend then. Yeah, so left back is particularly weak, apparently. His suggestion was that they would go with 3 centre-halves and push another centre-half into left-back, which is how they lined up against Arsenal. And obviously, Arsenal didn't find that too difficult to get past last week. They won 4-0, didn't they? So maybe that's another team with a really, really low block. Maybe that's another team like Brighton who could just soak it all up. We could have 21 shots and not score. They can have 1 touch in the box and beat us 1-0. That's what my fear was when I was talking about it in part 1. But I don't think we'll do that. I think our confidence is still there. We'll beat them.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, anybody else? There's one player I've got in mind, but
Nah, I
you mentioned
mean,
it.
from what he said, I mean, Leif Davis and Delap were the only two that were, well, Delap was the main concern, but like you said, what game they're playing there, I don't know. It could be anything about what you guys have just said. I was kind of nodding along to each part because it literally could be the player saying that he doesn't want to risk it and get injured. It could be Ipswich just saying, right, well, we'll not play you, like you've said, bang on. Could be just preparing for life after him and giving the likes of that Hurst guy who, I'm not going to lie, I don't know anything about him. But if he's going to be the main man, then it's only right, really, that he does get some game time and just, playing with players that he's going to be, well, I'm saying that, counting on the fact that the rest of them all stay as well for next season. I wouldn't have a clue, really. Obviously, there's been talk of a couple of them, but Delap's like pretty much gone, isn't it? I mean, it's just who he goes to, really, is the kind of question there. But come on, it's hard to say that you're scared of anyone on a team that have been so poor all season, really. So again, not to, really make us sound awful, but kind of. No, I'm not. I'm not really scared of any of them. And if they've got a weakness on the left, Murphy's going to have a field day, and I'm all in for that.
Fair play. The only other one I was kind of thinking of was Jack Clark. Used to play for Sunderland, didn't he? Ex Mackham, so he'll be. I think he'll be pretty motivated to do something at St James's Park. Since he was a youngster,
kick us and hurt us.
He was a youngster at Sunderland, so he'll have some mates, I'm sure, who are probably Newcastle fans and Sunderland fans who he'll have a little bit extra motivation to go to. I think that's about it. I used to like Sammy Schmodix as well, but I think he's injured. I think he was great at Blackburn, and I thought Ipswich would be a good move, but I know he's had some injuries, so he's clearly not fit because he hasn't played the last couple of games. Right, part 3. Last thing we've got to do. We've talked about the game, talked about Newcastle's lineup, Ipswich lineup, how important this could be. It's our second cup final of 5 because we won our last one. Hey, remember that? Won a cup this season. Get in. What do we think the predictions are going to be? Me and Iain are gentlemen, so we'll go Joe first, and then we'll go Iain, and then I'll go last. Joe, prediction: cool. Newcastle, Ipswich, St James's Park. What's it going to be?
3-0. Nice solid 3-0.
Ooh, comfortable. Wow. Comfortable. Okay. Any scorers you want to chuck in?
I think Murphy's going to get one because, just because I want to get that extra excited about it. It's so cliche to be like, Isak first goal. But,
I mean, he scored 25 in all competitions.
Because when he fancies, though, he just turns up when he wants.
Including a hat-trick against Ipswich away from home.
I know.
Good point.
I'm messing, obviously. But yeah, I mean...
I can confidently predict that we won't take the lead quite as quickly as we did when we played them at Portman Road. Because I think that was timed at 25 seconds, wasn't it?
It's hard to beat, but...
We can try. Be good if we are.
Accepted, maybe. Yeah.
So, 3-0 Joe. Iain, are you going with a regular 3-1 or...?
I was absolutely delighted to be there that night when we put 5 past Crystal Palace, 4 up at half-time. What a game that was.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me is thinking, well, we can resume that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequence, so we put 6 past Ipswich. And on a good day, we easily could do that. But I'm going to stick with my 3-1.
Nice.
Rob was quite enthusiastic about what a good player this Hurst is, so let's have him scoring for Ipswich. I think Isak will score, Murphy can score, and then whoever's playing the best out of Barnes or Gordon will get the third.
I like to see Barnes continue his good form. I'm going to go a little bit mental. I think because we are a wounded animal, we're going to score 4. And I think the last one will be scored by... Who do I think is going to be scored by? Callum Wilson.
I was going to say Callum Wilson.
Yeah. But I do also think that it will be 4-2. I think Ipswich will score 2. I think we're very attacking. I thought we were quite good against Chelsea. I know we had 10 men on the last one. So, yeah, it's a case of I'm going to go for 4-2 Newcastle. So, we're all going wins. Let's hope we do win. And let's hope it's a successful second cup final because we won our last one. I'm going to get that in as much as I possibly can. I'm still on a high from it. But apart from that, you'll hear from us on Monday as we review our 4-2 win over Ipswich.
But also, just before you go, Kev, you haven't gone yet, have you?
Nope.
Can we just say, come on, Everton, against Chelsea?
I'm not a big fan of Everton, but I do want them to beat Chelsea. Of course, I do.
Just temporary fans.
Come on, every other team playing anybody in the top 7.
Come on, anyone
Yeah,
that helps
absolutely.
us.
That's
We'll
it.
leave it at that.
Come on, every other team
That's
playing
it.
the top 7, and that's how we're going to end this one. Lovely stuff. Thanks for listening, and you'll hear from us on Monday.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.